In the early 1930s, the significance of tanks in the military quickly became relevant, and the Japanese were not ignorant of this. Already by this point, they had purchased or produced several designs with mixed success. However, those designs were growing more and more outdated. In 1936, the Japanese sought to produce a tank that would keep up with light tanks and other vehicles while also supporting infantry. Up until then, they had relied on the Type 86I Go. However, it was proven to be unreliable in terms of mobility and had very weak protection. This new tank would become known as the Chiha. The Type 97, or the Chiha, was the second most produced tank in Japanese history, only topped by the Ah-Go. They made about 2,100 of them, with the Ah-Go being only slightly higher at 2,300. The Chiha was created following thorough examination of the Type 89I Go, which was said to be too slow and sadly did not fit the tactical requirements of motorized warfare. Due to the critique of the Type 89, new specifications were sent to production companies from the Japanese Army Command. The eventual tank that was chosen was also inspired by the Ah-Go. The Tokyo Mitsubishi Heavy Industries produced two prototypes, one in April and one in June. The first was produced by Osaka Arsenal, and the other by the Army Factory. These had the same gun that was featured on the I-Go, which is the 57mm. Although the Osaka prototype performs poorly, the one from the Army Factory was much more appealing. This would be the design that's produced. A similar design that was being produced at the same time as the Chiha, known as the Chi-Ni, was so favorable due to its cheaper production cost and similarity to the original Ah-Go. However, with the Marco Polo Bridge incident, the Chiha became the primary vehicle following the decimation of many of Japan's Chi-Nis. By September of 1939, around 300 units were produced. Being one of the most widely produced Japanese tanks, it's safe to say it was used extensively in combat. It was stationed in the Second Sino-Japanese War at Nomonhan against the Soviet Union as well as the Second World War. The issue of inferiority in terms of tanks is something the Japanese struggled with throughout the entire war. However, the majority of their early conquests relating to China were successful due to its severe lack of tanks and modern anti-tank weaponry. On the topic of their performance in Nomonhan, it's a different story, as the Japanese had a clear difference in terms of weaponry when compared to Soviet Russia. These conflicts along the Manchurian border are what caused the Japanese to create the Chiha Kai, as during the border conflict, 42 out of 73 of their tanks were put out of commission. Obviously, improvements were in order. The Chiha Kai, sometimes called the Shinoto Chiha, was that improvement. This was simply a rearmed model using a new Type 147mm gun rather than the original 57mm, which had proven to be insufficient against armor. A total of 2,300 of these guns were produced until 1945, with 2,100 of those being fitted into their intended mount. The first Chiha Kai prototype was finished in 1941, with production beginning in early 1942. The new model completely replaced the Chiha, being produced until supply shortages caused a halt in 1943, with only 930 out of the request of 2,500 were delivered due to lack of raw materials. Although the Japanese were no match for the Soviet Union with their Chihas, the Chiha Kai did manage to perform well in the Philippines. When engaging with American M3 Stuarts, it was found that the 47mm was sufficient to defeat the armor, and upon the Japanese victory, captured Stuarts were found to be roughly equivalent to the Kai. The success, as well as limited materials, resulted in the chassis being used as a base for many other future vehicles. By the war's end, the Chiha and the Chiha Kai were still the most common in the IGA outside of the Japanese mainland. On a more technical side for those interested, the tank weighed around 14.3 tons with a crew of 4 men. It was 7 feet and 3 inches tall with a maximum speed of 38 kilometers an hour, which is 23 miles an hour. The maximum amount of armor it can provide is a mere 30 millimeters, which is the mantlet's width. Some of the most notable variants deriving from the Chiha are the Chiha shortgun, the Type 4 hull roll, and the Type 97 Shiki. Every vehicle in the Honi series was also based on the Chiha's chassis. The shortgun was equipped with a 120mm short-barreled gun, which was designed to support the Imperial Japanese Navy Special Naval Land Forces. There was also a version of this vehicle which removed the turret and slightly modified the hull to mount a full-length Type 10 12cm gun. Relating to the hull roll, only 12 of them were built, but used the Chiha chassis as well. Of these 12, only one remains at the American Heritage Museum, which I've actually seen in person. Lastly, the Shiki is a command tank variant. It has a smaller, unarmed turret, which has a horseshoe antenna and a large cupola. Now that we've learned about the Chiha, I'd like to bring your attention to something important. A close friend of mine has recently passed. You may have known him on YouTube as 2in900. The creation of this video is dedicated to him as he loved Japanese tanks, and I'm sure he would have loved watching me suffer researching things I wasn't as familiar with. Although there isn't much we can do, please consider donating to the GoFundMe dedicated to funding his funeral and his family. All the proceeds from this video will be donated to his family and the GoFundMe for his funeral. If you cannot donate, please spread this wherever you can. I miss my friend dearly, and I'm sure many will miss his content and the kindness he brought into our community. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed learning about the Chiha with me. Have a nice day!